Cheshire East Council has issued bankruptcy threat warning after the decision to scrap HS2. I'm going to read into this more from Sky News, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE here with another article from Sky News with the headline that Cheshire East Council has issued bankruptcy threat warning after the decision to scrap HS2. Cheshire East Council said it has spent £11 million preparing for the high-speed line and it's seeking an appropriate financial package from the government to compensate for its losses. And rightly so, guys. Let's just put some cards on the table here before we go into this, guys. So now obviously councils up and down the country have been struggling to balance their books, and without a shadow of a doubt Cheshire East Council put a lot of money of their own into this project because obviously it would benefit Cheshire. And obviously now that the government has decided to scrap it, they are going to be worse off as opposed to it. And they've already invested money into it. So rightly so, they should be compensated for it. In fact, they should be compensated every single penny that they've invested back from the government. Maybe even they should be offered additional compensation because a lot of their time has been wasted in this. And especially if a council is on the verge of bankruptcy. Now obviously there will be questions whether or not has it been run properly, has it been maintained, are they balancing the books properly? All these kind of questions need to be asked about the council itself, and rightly so. However, that doesn't change the fact that High Speed Rail 2 was going to be going through here, and they're going to be scrapping that, which is of course going to have a massive effect on their balancing budget books. So there is that caveat to take into effect as well. So I've said this before in the past when I've talked about High Speed Rail 2. I think it should never have been scrapped. I think it should have been built from Scotland first, up in Scotland first, and then built southwards, down south from there. There should have been the connection line should have been made between Manchester and Leeds. It should have all been spent. Yeah, I understand the money is a lot. It was a lot. We're talking huge amounts of money to invest into High Speed Rail 2. However, the whole point of it was to level up London, level up Scotland, bring the connections, establish new jobs, new links here between cities up and down the United Kingdom, and it would benefit everyone. Everyone would benefit in the long term. Yes, the costs are high, and I understand the cost point of view, and there's a great deal of argument for that. However, infrastructure is vital for any country. And we are going backwards on infrastructure, especially now, even more than ever, when we need more infrastructure. We are relying too much on our cars, and we need to invest more in rail. And we also need to make it cheaper for people as well, because it's far too goddamn expensive for people to travel from A to B in this country, which is ridiculous in comparison to some of our European counterparts. It's ludicrous, to say the least. We should never scrap HS2, and I generally hope, part of me still feels that perhaps Labour can still salvage this, but I think they're not saying anything because obviously they don't know where HS2 will be when come the next general election, because obviously they're looking to sell land so that Labour cannot pick up the pieces if they come into power at the next general election. But we'll have to wait and see obviously on that. So our council has warned it could be forced to declare bankruptcy after the government's devastating decision to cancel the northern leg of HS2. Cheshire East Council said it spent £11 million preparing for the high-speed line, including the £8.6 billion that had been funded by borrowing. In a report from the full council on the 13th of December, the local authority, which is under no overall control, said it would be required to write off the expenditure, including by expending the expenses of the £8.6 million through its own revenue account. The council said it could be forced to trigger a Section 114 notice because of the insufficient funds and adequate reserves to manage the in-year expenditure. Yeah, but remember, this is a government decision. The government chose to cancel this scheme, okay? And they're now being forced to have them to pay for it. You tell me how that's fair. The warning comes just weeks after Nottingham Council declared itself effectively bankruptcy after issuing a Section 114 notice, which means all new spending, with the exception of protecting vulnerable people and statutory services, must stop immediately. Birmingham City Council issued its own 114 notice in September after being hit with a £760 million bill to settle equal pay claims. This year, the Conservative Party conference was dominated by the announcement that the northern leg of HS2 beyond Birmingham would be scrapped, prompting accusations of betrayal of northern voters. The Prime Minister Rishi Sunak defended his decision by promising to spend the billions of cash saved on hundreds of other transport schemes across the country instead by building new Network North projects to join up northern cities by rail. But Cheshire East Council said it does not believe that government's alternative proposal for transport investment, Newark North, are adequate to mitigate the devastating impacts the cancellation of HS2 will have on the North, particularly for Cheshire East. The council in the northwest of England said it was seeking to negotiate with the government to secure an appropriate financial package to compensate the council's losses and recover the growth and levelling up benefits of HS2 phasing 2A and 2B, which would have unlocked for the borough, which includes nearly 4,500 homes, 5,000 new jobs, and a £750 million boost to the local economy. See, these right here, these are things that these councils need right now. The benefits for them. And they're taking this away from them. The Department of Transport spokesperson says Cheshire East is set to receive a significant additional support from the new £4.7 billion fund to transform local transports across the North and the Midlands, as well as a £110 million uplift over 11 years for local road maintenance. This on top of a funding boost of more than £2.2 million for bus service in the area, as well as an extension for the £2 bus fare cap to the end of 2024, all part of Newark's North plans using redirected HS2 funds to benefit more people in more places more quickly. Delivery of HS2, which was intended to link London to Birmingham and then on to Manchester and Leeds, has been a core pledge of the Conservative government, but has been plagued by delays and ever-increasing costs. The initial opening date of 2026 has fallen back to 2033, while costs estimated to spiral from about £33 billion in 2010 to an estimated £180 billion. Now, Political X done a fantastic video of showing just how corrupt the whole scheme was in terms of the build-up for HS2, and I'm gonna, if I find that video, guys, I'll put a link in the description for you guys as well to check out, because I think that's a really important video for you guys. So just before I go into the final thoughts here, so they're saying they're spending 2.2 million for bus fare services area there on the extension of the £2 bus fare cap. 4.7 billion has funded to help transform local transport across the North and the Midlands. So they're not saying, so it doesn't say here specifically, okay, that's really important for me to make that distinction now, I'm just seeing there. So it doesn't say there specifically that what money, of what part of that money, if any, how much is it going to go to Cheshire. And that's a very big point to make here, because they're losing out at no fault of their own here, okay? It's really important to make that distinction. Now, obviously, I don't know the balance in budget books, obviously, of the council and how they maintain things. But rightfully so, they're angry, they're pissed off, and they have a right to be a little bit pissed off, considering that this was supposed to be a great opportunity for them, a great opportunity for the East Council, for their area, the investment, and everything that's going to come along with it. And the government decided to cut that off. Now, again, obviously, I understand that the costs of HS2 and how it's built up and all the problems that come with it, but I also believe that's down to, obviously, the regulation of how it is made, of how the books are managed, and the people behind it. So there's questions that need to be asked there, because obviously money has been lost. And why has that money been lost? Questions need to be answered, of course. I'd like to think that Labour, when they come into government, will open up some sort of investigation into finding out why did it cost so much, where did this money go, what happened, basically, and to look into it, because this is a lot of taxpayer money that has gone, and the government has decided to scrap it. Questions need to be asked, of course. So what do you guys think? Do you think it was a right call from the Conservatives to scrap HS2? Do you think Cheshire East Council are right to demand a significant compensation because of the devastation it can have on their council, especially when they're on the verge of bankruptcy? But is it because they're asking this money because they haven't managed their own books? Lots of questions, guys. What are your thoughts in the comment section down below? Do let me know. Hit the like button, we greatly appreciate. Share this across social media and hit that bell notification icon so you'll be notified of when I upload another video. And if you want to financially support me, you can do so by buying me a coffee or joining me on Patreon. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.